Back with another great video. That's gonna have to be my intro because everybody usually has one and I want to have one of my own too. Again, thank you for being here. I'm so glad that you're able to enjoy my content. Again, this takes so many hours, a lot of editing, a lot of work behind the scenes, and my phone is constantly running out of storage, so that also takes time to have to delete everything, transfer it to different folders. But anyways, on today's video, I'm focusing on redoing my craft space, which is not a surprise. I'm constantly doing this. It's practically like a weekly thing. I constantly have to get everything in order, but at least you guys can get a behind the scenes. I'm also going to be providing you with some tips, like how I organize what has worked out for me, and then hopefully it helps you out as well if you have your own craft room. But that's it for right now, and let's get started with the video. So this is the first area that I decided to work on. You may be able to see that there's so many items around here. On the wall, I only have two bins that hold really some random stuff that also needs to be cleaned out. I have other important items like my printer, and that's because the cord is really close to the outlet, so I'm able to connect it a little bit easier, but I do have some other randoms that could be organized better. So that's why I really wanted to dedicate today to organizing the space and making it more efficient. That way I can always find my things where I need them. So starting off, I wanted to go ahead with these bins to go ahead get that out of the way because it's only two items, so it's a lot simpler for me to clean that out. And I had been meaning to clean these out for the longest, but I got so accustomed to just putting my own personal notes in here because I'm involved in youth ministry, so I had like random papers. Also these rulers, which I had bought in for t-shirts, but they didn't work out because of the collar line. It just wouldn't align properly. But even as I'm picking up the papers, you can see that they're all falling out. So this is something that, should have been done a while ago. But also taking out like sticky notes. And good thing these bins are so easy to remove. I don't have to unscrew it. It's literally just lift up and unhook it. And I was just going to focus on one of the bins, but I decided, you know what, let me do the other one. That way I can just take out all the papers and all at once just be going through them, see what I'm going to keep and what I'm not. Any little accessories, try to organize them as best as I can. And just focusing on this area, I'm like, wow, it's going to be a lot of work, but I'm the only one that gets it done, so I have to do it. It's my craft room after all. And here again, you saw once the bins were all cleaned out, I did have to throw out a bunch of papers, but it's a necessary routine. And now that it's organized, I have some more space left over, which before it was all crammed in there. But once you organize things, you're able to make spaces. Like this little ink carton fit perfectly in between the little crack right there. And I was also able to put this hole puncher. So you can see that it's made it a lot better. And I must have skipped this part, but the plastic bins that were on the table, I actually moved them down. It's 4 different boxes and they're obviously a little bit thick, so they do add to some height and make the space look crammed up. But having them on this shelf I think works out great, especially since I don't use them that often. If I'm ever making charms, it's usually in one sitting. So if I don't need it for the moment, I'd rather replace it with something else. So I ended up putting this little table shelf that came with a desk, and I was able to put my Cricut. I was able to have that basket to hold in some items, and even then I still had some space under the shelf. So adding height to your table is definitely important and it helps out a lot. And instead of having my copy paper under the printer, I put it on top of here, so whenever I need to replace, that's easy to do. Now to work on the opposite side, I started off with the shelves that I do have on this corner. It's just 2 of them. Again, I may have to add some more because those always help out to put these products that need to be standing. And I'm not sure if you can see it, but it was definitely dusty up here. I don't really use this space. I usually just hold items there for a while, but I did want to wipe that down, of course, as well as other items. So taking down any necessary items, putting on a little podcast in the background. Thankful for my husband because he did add that for me. Super grateful. I also took before and after pictures because I like to see my room once it's redone. And when I do post it on my social media, it seems to get good attention. I think people like to see that as well. That might be the reason why you're also watching, because you can get inspiration. I have a lot of crafting people that follow me on my business page. It's probably like half crafters and then half people who want to support my small business. But continuing with the process of organizing, I filled out the shelves, and that was the first thing that I did clear out. Then I focused on my bin with all the keychains that I have, since I took them down from my pegboard to do inventory count, because I have so many designs and it's hard to see them once they're on the pegboard since they're all cramped together. And by the way, I hope you guys can hear me good because I do have my dryer in the background, but again, creating this content does take some time, so whenever I do have availability, that's when I want to take advantage of it in order to produce this content for all of you. So focusing back on the little pouches, the way that I add them onto my pegboard is I have to insert the key rings before putting the clip into the pegboard. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to get them in there since it's not a little press down clip. I did mention that in another video talking about, some of the differences and things to consider if you do get a pegboard like this or the items that you make. So my focus was to gather the keychain pouches by color or similar colors, just grouping them together. When I'm inserting them right here into the pegboard, it's not in a specific order. Mainly, I was just trying to get the hooks off of there and then adding all the different colors. And then afterwards, I would be organizing the pegboard so that it looks nice and orderly. So once I was done with the box pouches, I switched my focus onto the zipper pouches. So that's why I'm unhooking those and the other ones are just left on the pegboard. As I mentioned, I wasn't organizing them just yet. I was just hooking them by color. So the same process, sorting them by color, so it makes it easier for me to find them. Like if I get an online order for, let's say, a sunflower pouch, I would know to go to the yellow section. That way I can get it easily versus just mixing them all in together. So sorting them by similar or light colors. And as I went through my bin, I ended up finding some more box pouches. So I took those out as well so I can go ahead and include them once I was done with all the process of sorting. I sped this part up so it wouldn't be boring for you guys, and it's kind of interesting watching all the colors line up. But that section was done, so now to focus on the zipper ones again. I like these because you can swivel the hook around. I don't have to completely remove it. You can see right here in the close-up. I try to give you guys different angles, so clearly I put some effort into these videos. So make sure that you're liking it to help me get more engagement, and of course I can keep on making these videos. In this next process, I was sorting through the keychains, seeing how I wanted to organize them. Where it is that the little, the screws were at, to see if it would block me. It's all about rearranging, figuring out the way, because again, to insert the pegboard pieces, you do have to screw in the 4 corners, so that occupies one of the little holes, so you have to move over the clip, if that makes sense. I hope it does. And now the next thing that I had to think about was my sticker roll holder and the scissor compartment. That was from a company that gave it to me for a PR package. Here I'm just sorting out the keychains, the similar thing by color, so that way I could sort them onto the pegboard itself. I try to keep it consistent, unless it's something like the Bible verse keychains. Those I sort in their own little category, and then continuing from there, it would be blue all the way to the pink for the first aisle. And this was my view for the moment. When I have finished the first line of products, I did have to move some down. I moved the scissor compartment and the sticker roll holder too. Here it was time to do the mini keychains because I do offer 2 different sizes. So this was the little space that I filled up. This is the final look with everything in place. And sorry that I'm zooming in and I'm zooming out. It's just to give you an overall look. I was able to fix everything. At the beginning I thought I wouldn't have space, but it's just a matter of organizing your items at the top, at the bottom, the corners, filling in all those gaps so your space, works out for you. You can easily retrieve all the products that you need. So now that the deal with the keychains is over, I can go ahead and remove these boxes from the way. That's why I'm just putting them off to this corner. I would prefer to be able to turn them around, but this is the way that they fit into the space. I went ahead to organize my clear bins. I have mentioned that these are super helpful to hold in those small pieces that would otherwise, get misplaced on the floor or just lose them in between other products. Here I just have a little bin with the keychain pouches. I need to find a way to organize these as well, but that'll have to be for a future video because I don't have anything in mind right now. I love this little mini trash can. I got it from the Dollar Tree. I use it to hold in my little threads. Sorry guys, I was stuttering a little bit. But I use it to hold in the little threads. I know it's a little bit too big of anything. I need to get something more appropriate. But good thing I have this little corner where I could just put like my pencils and stuff. If I had something like the scissor compartment, that would be helpful. I know the company makes them. I'll have to check in with them to see how much it costs, the shipping, and all those little details. But for right now, that's where my pencils go. Next, we're focusing on wiping down the counters as well. The same thing that I did for the shelves. We want to pick up any like little threads, any dust, whatever it is. And I would always recommend having some wipies because it makes it easier to be able to pick up those really small threads or dust And with my counters cleaned up, now I can focus on the side bin that I have to my desk. It is just screwed onto there, so it's like a little container that holds in papers, but I use it to hold in my transfers. Like I have these envelopes that I just squeeze them in there. The only problem with some of these transfers was that the company sent me the wrong ones. They sent me some that were way too small. So if you guys make t-shirts, make sure that you are reading the descriptions, and if anything is wrong with it, to reach out to the company owner. In this situation, I did contact them, but I can't really remember what their excuse was, something about the measurement, but I did read the details though. And then as I was sorting through them, I had a good idea with this specific design. What if I put it like on a jean, but I'm gonna make a tote bag out of jeans? It could be patchwork or just like a single color. I think that would look really pretty because it has like colors that pop up. And continuing on to that little bin, I had to go ahead and clean it out. Again, because it's really close to my desk, a lot of the threads end up falling into the little compartment, but I love that I can just remove it, empty it into the trash, and then sort everything back into place. As I was going through my transfers, I also saw how important it is that I do sort them properly, because this design was being smushed and one of the letters was almost coming off. So good thing I caught that in time before I had to throw that away. And so now I had an easier method to be able to see my transfers. I cut off the top of the envelope, but everything is still held in place and the bottom is protected. Although the top is exposed, nothing is going to be like interfering with it. Like these rulers, they're just going to be beside it, so it doesn't even get in the way. And this is the after. You can definitely see the difference. My papers are definitely sorted and it seems like I have a lot more space. Excuse the little thread. These threads get all over the place. Quickly zooming out, you guys can see that the work area is definitely coming together. Okay, so this is my desk space, but now moving over, I do have my collection of dresses that I use for church. This is the only spot that I have available to put the rack. But I mean, it really doesn't get in the way, but still, I would love a better spot. My plan is that I would have to take away a set of black bins. That way I can squeeze this into the corner because it doesn't fit there. I've already tried, but it's too wide. And then I could scoot this all the way back and that would leave me, this whole free space for something else. Maybe I put this side of the desk. I would have to figure it out. But all of this does need to get cleaned out. I've been wanting to get rid of all those boxes. They don't have to be there. I usually have extra supplies. And then everything else that's over here. I did end up cleaning out some of the boxes over here, but I still have a long way to go. But either way, that's going to be it for now. We have come to the end of this video. This was a project of about 2 to 3 days, since I do have to manage in my daily life, like life with my husband, cooking, cleaning, going to church, which are all amazing and important aspects of life, but just trying to squeeze in everything. But I'm so glad that I was able to redo my room. As you were able to see, there were so many things that needed to be cleared out, just reorganized. But if you guys have any feedback, any advice, let me know down below. As I was mentioning, I do want to add more shelves, but like, what do you use in your room? Do you have like a certain bookshelf? Are they actually onto the wall? If you have any feedback for me, I would love to read about it, or just your overall opinion of how you think the result came out. Any other behind the scenes that you guys would like to see, please let me know. I could do a get to know me, a day in my life, but leave it down below. If you engage with this video, it helps me to reach other people. Like if you go through the list of my videos, the ones that have the most views are the ones that have had the most engagement. So they've either had like a comment, they've either had 20 plus likes. Like it all really really makes a difference. And of course, I'm a new crafter on, with my YouTube channel, so it definitely helps me out. And I can continue to provide you guys with advice and continue to make these videos. So make sure that you are engaging with it. And I really appreciate every single one of you. Every time I see my subscriber number growing, I'm like overwhelmed and really surprised by it. So thank you so much for being here. I'll be making another video soon. I hope you guys are doing well and God bless you.